right, diving deep today. And, it's astral travel, but we're going to do it with a twist.
Yeah.
We're focusing in on the Monroe method, which is a technique that uses sound
Okay.
to potentially unlock these experiences.
Right. And to guide us, we have an interview with Oliver Tapp.
Yeah.
And he's not only experienced with this method,
Right.
but also brings in some really fascinating perspectives on what astral travel might actually mean.
Yeah. And we're really going to try to tackle some big questions here. Like,
Right.
is there any scientific basis at all to this?
Yeah.
What might you actually encounter out there? And are there any risks involved?
Yeah.
Especially for people that are dealing with maybe past trauma or things like that.
I think it's crucial to approach this with both curiosity and a healthy dose of critical thinking. Yeah. So let's unpack this carefully.
Okay, so the Monroe method.
Yes.
It uses binaural beats, right? That's at the heart of it. And it's always sounded a bit like science fiction to me.
Well, think of it this way.
Ah.
Our brain waves naturally change frequencies,
Okay.
depending on what we're doing, the way you focus to sleep and so on.
Right.
Binaural beats essentially trick the brain into syncing up
Oh,
with
yeah.
specific frequencies by playing slightly different tones in each ear.
So it's less about the sound itself and more about how our brain responds to that difference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's through this synchronization that the Monroe method aims to induce states of consciousness
Right.
that are conducive to astral projection.
Okay.
But it's not like flipping a switch.
Right.
Oliver really stresses that your willingness to engage in the process is key.
Oh, interesting.
He even describes it like a symphony, guiding your brain into different states.
Oh, symphony for your brain.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
So then what exactly are we projecting into?
Right.
This is where things get really interesting for me.
Yeah.
This idea of multiple energetic bodies.
So Oliver describes the etheric body as almost a blueprint of our physical self existing in a slightly different vibrational frequency. A bit like a parallel dimension brushing up against ours.
And he even claims to have manifested things in the etheric realm that later appeared in his physical reality.
Yes.
Like a fireplace.
Yes.
Go-
But that's wild.
Let's not jump to conclusions.
Okay.
It raises an important question.
Yeah.
Is this actual manipulation of reality?
Right.
Or is it more about how our perception shifts, making us notice things that we might have overlooked before?
That's a great point, because it's easy to get swept up in some of the more fantastical claims.
Absolutely.
Keeping that critical thinking element is really key here, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, beyond the etheric,
Okay.
Oliver talks about the astral body,
Okay.
the vehicle for exploring the astral plane itself.
Right.
He describes it as a realm of pure information,
Pure information.
almost like a cosmic database.
Okay.
This brings up a challenge.
Yeah.
How do we even perceive anything without our physical senses?
Right, because that sounds like sensory overload waiting to happen. Well, Oliver explains that our consciousness translates that raw data into something we can understand:
Okay.
images, feelings, sounds.
So our minds are creating the scenery based on the information that we're receiving.
That's one way to look at it.
Okay.
And this is where the emotional aspect becomes crucial.
Yeah.
If the astral plane is so responsive to our consciousness,
Right.
imagine the impact our fears and anxiety could have.
Okay. Yeah, that's a bit unsettling, to be honest.
It's why Oliver cautions against astral travel for anyone with severe trauma or mental health issues.
Really?
He even recommends doing shadow work
Okay.
before attempting it.
So shadow work, for people that might not be familiar with that term.
Yeah, essentially it's the process of confronting and integrating our darker aspects, our fears and past traumas.
So it's like making sure that your emotional foundation is solid
Exactly.
before you go venturing out into a realm that might amplify those very emotions.
Exactly. Now,
Interesting.
even if someone is prepared,
Right.
it's essential to ask, why do they want to astral travel in the first place?
Is it purely for exploration, or are they hoping for healing or insights?
Yeah.
Maybe even contact with deceased loved ones?
Oliver seems to believe all of that is possible,
Wow.
but we need to be cautious about assuming these experiences are always accurate or beneficial.
Okay.
We'll delve into those specifics later.
This is already a lot to consider.
Yeah.
We've gone from sound frequencies to shadow work to the very nature of reality.
That's a lot.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah, let's take a moment to process all this
Yeah.
before we jump into the deeper implications of Oliver's experiences.
Yeah.
What stands out to you so far?
Honestly, it's that idea of the astral plane being information-based
Okay.
and shaped by our consciousness.
Ah.
If that's true, it means our thoughts and beliefs have a lot more power than we realize.
Excellent observation.
Yeah.
That's actually a perfect segue into our next topic, manifestation.
Okay.
How might this concept work in a realm so intertwined with our own minds?
Okay, let's unpack that, because if the astral plane is a realm of pure information,
Right.
it stands to reason that our thoughts and beliefs could have a direct impact on what we experience there.
Precisely. And that's where Oliver's strong belief in the law of attraction becomes particularly fascinating.
Yeah.
So picking up where we left off, that idea that the astral plane is this realm of pure information shaped by consciousness.
Right.
Incredibly potent.
Especially when you consider Oliver's belief in the law of attraction.
Yeah.
It suggests that in a realm so closely tied to our thoughts and beliefs, manifestation might work very differently.
Absolutely. In our physical world,
Right.
manifestation is often talked about in terms of attracting things into our lives.
Okay.
But if the astral plane is more malleable,
Right.
more responsive to our intentions,
Yeah.
the process could be much more direct.
So it's less about attracting and more about directly creating our experience.
Yeah.
Almost like lucid dreaming,
Yeah.
where you can consciously shape the dream world around you.
It's an intriguing parallel. Oliver describes the astral plane as being incredibly diverse,
Okay.
with different levels or realms, each with its own unique characteristics.
Interesting.
It's not some homogeneous static place.
And he also talks about encountering entities on the astral plane,
Yes.
both positive and negative.
Yes.
Does this suggest that we're not just creating the environment, but also interacting with other consciousnesses?
That's a key question if our consciousness is shaping the experience.
Right.
Does that mean these entities are projections of our own psyche?
Yeah.
Or are we truly connecting with something external,
Right.
something beyond our individual understanding?
Yeah. It's a bit mind-boggling, isn't it?
It is.
On one hand, it makes sense that our fears and anxieties could manifest as negative entities.
Sure.
But on the other hand, the idea of encountering other beings, especially deceased loved ones, is deeply compelling.
Oliver describes being able to communicate with his deceased parents on the astral plane. Wow. Finding a sense of closure and comfort in those interactions.
That's a powerful testament to the potential healing aspects of astral travel.
Yeah.
But it also raises ethical considerations.
Yeah.
Is it appropriate to seek out contact with those who have passed on?
Right.
Could we be disrupting their own journey or clinging to the past?
Oliver seems to acknowledge this delicate balance.
Okay.
He emphasizes that everyone is on their own journey, even after physical death.
Mm-hmm.
He encourages respecting the autonomy of those we encounter on the astral plane,
Right.
just as we would in our physical lives.
So it's not about holding on or trying to control the experience,
Yeah.
but rather approaching it with a sense of humility and respect,
Yes.
both for ourselves and for those we might encounter.
Precisely. And this brings us back to the fundamental question. What is reality?
Right.
If we can have these kinds of experiences on the astral plane,
Yeah.
experiences that challenge our understanding of time-space and even the boundaries of self,
Mm-hmm.
what does it say about the limitations of our physical perception?
It's like we're just scratching the surface of what's actually possible.
Right.
Our physical senses might be filtering out a vast spectrum of reality
Yeah.
that we're only beginning to glimpse through experiences like astral travel.
And this is where the conversation about astral travel intersects with some fascinating developments in mainstream science.
Oh, okay.
Feels like quantum physics and consciousness studies
Right.
are increasingly challenging our materialistic worldview.
The idea that consciousness might be fundamental to reality,
Yes.
that we're not just passive observers,
Yeah.
but active participants in creating the world around us, is gaining more traction.
And it resonates deeply with Oliver's description of the astral plane as this realm of pure information,
Right.
where time and space as we understand them don't really exist.
It suggests that our current scientific models might be too limited
Yeah.
to fully grasp the nature of reality.
It's like we're trying to understand a holographic image
Right.
by only looking at a two-dimensional slice of it.
A very apt analogy, and it raises the question, if our consciousness is more powerful than we realize,
Yeah.
if it can shape reality in ways that we're only beginning to understand, what are the implications for how we live our lives?
That's a question with profound implications for our personal growth, our relationships, even our approach to global challenges.
Absolutely. But before we get too carried away,
Yes,
let's acknowledge that there will always be skeptics
of course.
who dismiss astral travel as nothing more than fantasy or wishful thinking.
Right. How does Oliver address those who doubt the validity of these experiences?
Right. Is there any way to prove something that's so subjective and personal?
Oliver's response is rooted in personal experience
Okay.
and the belief that everyone has the potential to access these realms.
Mm-hmm.
He encourages exploration and direct experience rather than relying on the opinions of others.
So it's a don't knock it till you try it kind of thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
but he also acknowledges the subjective nature of these experiences.
Right.
What one person perceives on the astral plane might differ greatly from another's experience.
Okay.
There's no single map to this territory.
That makes sense. It's a personal journey shaped by our unique consciousness and beliefs.
Yeah.
But even within this realm of personal exploration,
Yes.
Oliver emphasizes the importance of discernment, right?
Absolutely. He cautions against blindly accepting everything you encounter on the astral plane.
Okay.
He encourages a healthy dose of skepticism and critical thinking.
So it's not about abandoning logic and reason,
No.
but rather expanding our understanding of what's possible while maintaining a discerning mind.
Exactly. And that brings us to a crucial point. Astral travel, even with its potential dangers and challenges,
Right.
is ultimately a tool for self-discovery and growth.
Okay.
It's not an escape from reality,
Mm-hmm.
but a way to engage with a deeper, perhaps more authentic level of ourselves.
It's fascinating that Oliver highlights the importance of staying grounded in our physical lives
Yes.
while exploring the astral realm.
Yeah.
It suggests a balance between these two realities.
Yes, and it highlights the potential for integrating these experiences into our daily lives.
Okay.
We can use them to gain insights, heal old wounds, and ultimately become more conscious creators of our reality, both internal and external.
That integration piece is what I'm most curious about.
Yeah.
How do we bridge the gap between these seemingly separate realms?
Right.
How do we bring those insights and experiences back into our everyday lives?
That's an excellent question. And it's precisely where we'll pick up when we return for the final part of our deep dive.
Okay.
We'll explore how these seemingly out there experiences
Mm-hmm.
can have a real and tangible impact on our lives right here in the physical world.
So we've explored the how and the why of astral travel, but let's get practical.
Ah.
What does all this mean for us?
Right here.
You know, here in our everyday lives.
It's easy to get lost in the metaphysical, but the real power of these experiences lies in how we integrate them
Yeah.
into our physical reality.
Okay.
Think of it as bringing back souvenirs from a journey. Not just trinkets,
Yeah.
but insights that can change how we navigate our world.
So more than just a cool story to tell at parties, right?
Exactly.
We're talking about tangible benefits here.
Oliver emphasizes the profound impact astral travel can have on self-awareness.
Okay.
By exploring those different layers of our being, we get a clearer picture of our thoughts, emotions, the subconscious patterns driving our behavior.
Right.
It's like getting a behind-the-scenes look at our own minds.
Almost like an internal audit, like revealing the code that makes us tick.
Yes, and that increased awareness ripples outwards.
Okay.
It can transform relationships, spark creativity, even help us make choices that truly align with who we are, not just who we think we should be.
Okay, so better self-knowledge, that makes sense. But what about problem solving? Can these astral insights actually help us tackle real-world challenges?
Oliver certainly believes so.
Okay.
He suggests that the astral plane, as this realm of pure information,
Right.
might hold solutions we wouldn't access through our usual thought processes.
Oh.
It's like tapping into a wider perspective, seeing the issue from multiple angles at once.
So instead of hitting a wall, it's like we can step outside the usual limitations and gain a fresh view.
Precisely, imagine being stuck on a creative project or facing a tough decision.
Yeah.
Those aha moments
Right.
often come when we break free from our habitual thinking.
Yeah.
Astral travel, in a sense, could offer a more radical way to do that.
And I'm seeing how this ties back to the concept of manifestation.
Yes.
If the astral plane is so malleable, maybe it's a training ground for shaping our reality more consciously.
That's a fascinating idea. If we can practice intention and creation in a realm so responsive to thought,
Right.
perhaps those skills become more honed for our physical world too.
But let's not sugarcoat things.
Right.
We've talked about the need for emotional preparedness.
Yes.
But are there other risks that we need to be aware of?
Sure.
What about safety precautions in this astral wilderness?
Oliver stresses setting clear intentions before any journey. Visualizing protection, focusing on positive emotions.
So not just diving in head first,
Right.
but being mindful of the energy we carry into that space.
Exactly. He also suggests having a trusted person to help ground you back into your physical body afterwards.
Oh, okay.
It's like having an anchor to ensure a smooth return.
That makes sense, especially if those astral experiences can be so intense or disorienting.
Yeah,
But I can already hear the skeptics out there.
of course.
This is all very interesting, but how do I know it's not just my imagination?
It's a fair question, and one that highlights the very nature of these experiences.
Okay.
They're inherently subjective, personal.
Right.
Ultimately, like any inner exploration, the most convincing proof comes from direct experience.
It's like trying to describe the taste of a mango.
Exactly.
No words will truly capture it until you've taken a bite yourself.
And there are many resources out there for those willing to explore guided meditations, online courses,
Right.
even local groups for sharing experiences and support.
So it's not about blind faith, but informed curiosity and taking those first steps with guidance.
Yes, and with a healthy dose of discernment, remember, even within the realm of the extraordinary critical thinking, remains essential.
This has been quite a journey from sound waves and brain frequencies to the power of our intentions and the very nature of reality. Astral travel really does open up a universe of questions.
Yeah.
And perhaps a few answers, too.
If there's one takeaway I'd like to leave our listeners with, it's this. Whether or not astral travel is real in the conventional sense might be less important than what it teaches us about the potential within ourselves.
The power of our minds, the interconnectedness of things,
Yeah.
the vastness of what we might not yet perceive, it's both humbling and incredibly exciting.
Exactly. And ultimately, that sense of wonder, that drive to explore the unknown within and without, that's the true spirit of the deep dive.
Beautifully put. So, to our listeners, if you're feeling the call to adventure, approach it with respect,
Yes.
with an open mind, and perhaps you'll discover a whole new dimension to your own reality. Keep diving deep, everyone.